Browns fans have had enough, and this game tipped the scale. Dilly and Gabriel's conservative, check-down-heavy performance wasn't just boring, it was ineffective. And when Mary Kay Cabot, the most tapped-in Browns voice, dissected his flaws, she didn't leave much room for debate. Her analysis, pointing out Gabriel's vision limitations and lack of deep throws, indirectly did what fans have been begging for. Push the Shedeur Sanders agenda into the spotlight.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
What followed was a wave of online backlash. Fans labeled Gabriel one-dimensional and questioned why a more talented option, like Sanders, remained sidelined. Cabot's remarks added fuel to a growing fire, making it harder for the coaching staff to hide behind vague QB depth charts. Whether they want it or not, the Browns may be inching closer to a decision, one the fans already made for them. Dillon Gabriel's performance against the Minnesota Vikings didn't just fall flat. It exposed something deeper, a problem the Browns have been trying to gloss over for weeks. It's one thing to play conservative football. It's another to field a quarterback whose play style is so one-dimensional that even casual fans can call out the next pass before the ball is snapped. That's what happened in this game. Gabriel's game plan was so predictable, so carefully confined to short rollouts and checkdowns, that it looked like he was operating in slow motion, while the rest of the league is playing fast, vertical, and aggressive. And the backlash wasn't just about a disappointing game. It was about what it represents. A fan base that's been through more quarterback drama than any should have to endure saw all the warning signs at once. And then Mary Kay Cabot, one of the most respected Browns insiders in the game, stepped in, not with a rant, not with an over-the-top take, but with a surgical analysis. One that didn't name Shedeur Sanders, but absolutely pointed in his direction. Mary Kay didn't have to spell it out. She just laid out Gabriel's limitations, his inability to throw downfield, his over-reliance on short passes, and the reality that once defenses adapt, his game becomes a non-factor. It was clear, and fans connected the dots immediately. If Gabriel can't make defenses respect the deep ball, and if his height and field vision are making basic pocket reads a challenge, how long before teams just load the box, press the receivers, and dare him to beat them over the top? That's the core of the issue. Gabriel might be serviceable, but he's not scalable. He's not the kind of quarterback you build around. He's the kind of quarterback you work around. And the more the Browns have to shrink the playbook to fit his comfort zone, the more obvious it becomes. This isn't a long-term answer. That's where Sanders enters the discussion. Not because he's flawless, but because the Browns need a quarterback who brings more to the table. Someone who challenges defenses. Someone who can actually force adjustments instead of folding when they happen. Someone who doesn't need a perfectly executed rollout just to complete a 7-yard pass. The difference between Gabriel and Sanders, as highlighted by both fans and media, isn't just in raw talent. It's in how they play the game. Sanders is known for scanning the field, standing tall in the pocket, and letting it rip downfield. That's not just a stylistic preference. That's the kind of quarterbacking that makes offenses dangerous, that opens up lanes, stretches defenses, and gives receivers a chance to be more than glorified decoys. With Gabriel, everything stays underneath. Everything is designed to minimize risk. But in doing so, the Browns have minimized their entire offensive potential. Against the Vikings, it wasn't just that Gabriel played small. It was that he played the same way on every down. Short throw, rollout, repeat. It became formulaic. And when your game becomes a formula, defenses will crack it every single time. That's the adjustment Mary Kay was warning about. Defenses are going to sit on those routes. They're going to take away the flats. They're going to force Gabriel to play from the pocket and push the ball downfield. And unless he proves he can do that, games will get uglier, fast. Fans aren't waiting around to find out. Social media is already full of commentary that's blunt, unforgiving, and completely aligned with Mary Kay's subtle but pointed critique. People are calling Gabriel terrible, saying he's scared to throw beyond 10 yards, and demanding a change, not next month, but right now. There's a very real sense of urgency here, and it's not coming from a place of impatience. It's coming from years of watching this team cycle through quarterbacks who play small, play scared, and then get replaced. That's the timeline Gabriel is on right now. And unless something changes dramatically, he's going to follow it to the letter. It's also worth noting that the locker room isn't immune to this. Players know. Receivers know when they're open and not getting the ball. Running backs know when the defense doesn't respect the pass. Linemen know when they're blocking well enough to give quarterback time, but he bails anyway. Eventually, the tension shows. Body language shifts. Frustration builds. The film doesn't lie, and neither do the vibes. At some point, the coaching staff is going to have to respond. Right now, they're riding the trust the process wave, hoping that Gabriel figures it out. But the clock is ticking, because while they're being patient, the rest of the league is adjusting. And the longer they wait, the more ground they lose. If you can't run an offense that tests defenses vertically, you're not just limiting yourself. You're putting your entire roster at a disadvantage. You're putting your defense in bad field position after 3 and outs. You're wasting the development of receivers who aren't being targeted beyond 5 yards. And you're telling your fan base that safe and predictable is good enough. Except it's not. The Browns don't need a quarterback who avoids mistakes. They need one who creates opportunities. Gabriel is doing the former. Sanders, or someone with a skill set, could do the latter, and that's why the calls are getting louder. Not because the fan base wants a savior, but because they're done watching an offense that looks like it's scared of its own quarterback. It's not just about Gabriel. It's about the direction of the team. And the longer this continues, the more that direction looks like a slow, quiet drift toward irrelevance. Mary Kay Cabot didn't start this debate, but she confirmed it. She gave it credibility. And now, every game Gabriel plays without pushing the ball, without showing growth, without proving he can lead a dynamic offense, that's another game where the noise gets louder. The pressure mounts. And the team looks like it's either in denial or afraid to act. This isn't going away. It's only going to get worse unless a change is made. Whether that means giving Sanders a chance or looking elsewhere entirely. The bottom line is this. Gabriel is playing like someone who's already hit his ceiling. And the Browns can't afford to keep betting on a ceiling that low. If the coaching staff wants to salvage the season, they need to stop protecting a quarterback who isn't protecting their win column. They need to stop designing game plans around his limitations and start building towards someone who actually expands the field. And if that means Sanders gets a call, so be it. Because what's happening now, it's not just uninspired. It's unacceptable. So now it's your turn. Are the Browns making a mistake sticking with Gabriel? Is Sanders the future? Or are the fans and media jumping the gun? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you're here for the quarterback chaos, the media bombs, and every sideline stare down in between, make sure you subscribe. Because this story isn't slowing down. It's just getting started. The Browns are walking a tightrope, and Dylan Gabriel is making it wobble with every snap. The offense is crawling. The playbook feels like it was written in bold font that says, do not throw past the first down marker. And while some might still be trying to keep the faith, most of the fan base has already moved on emotionally. Gabriel may still be the quarterback on paper, but on the field, and in the mind of fans, that window is closing fast. And Mary Kay Cabot? She didn't slam it shut, but she definitely pulled the curtains. Her commentary wasn't some emotional overreaction or wild speculation. It was calculated, deliberate, a veteran insider looking at the tape, listening to the locker room, watching the offense sputter, and saying what many within the building probably wish they could. Gabriel's style is predictable. His ceiling is obvious. And when defenses adjust, there's no second gear. That's the dagger. This is Cleveland. Fans aren't just watching football. They're diagnosing it. They've had to. Years of quarterback roulette have trained them to see through the fluff. They know the difference between a young QB with growing pains and one who's fundamentally limited. And Gabriel right now is looking a whole lot like the second. Let's look at the facts. He doesn't throw downfield. He doesn't go through progressions. He rolls out when the pocket is clean. And when he does throw, it's almost always within 10 yards. That's not an offensive strategy. It's a cry for help. And if the fans can see it, you can bet the opposing defenses do too. That's what Mary Kay was warning about. The NFL doesn't wait for you to figure it out. Once they have the book on you, they don't just play to your weaknesses. They hammer them. Defenses are going to start sitting on the short stuff. They'll press the receivers. Stack the box. Force Gabriel to win from the pocket. And when he can't, that's when the real questions start. Because if the Browns' coaching staff keeps rolling Gabriel out there despite clear, repeatable, and now widely acknowledged limitations, it becomes less about the quarterback and more about leadership, about decision-making, about whether this team is serious about competing or just riding out another lost season on the back of a safe QB. That's why Shedeur Sanders is in the middle of the conversation now. It's not just a name drop. It's not just hype. It's the fan base and now the media aligning around the idea that there's a better option, or at the very least, a bolder one. Sanders represents something Gabriel doesn't. Vertical threat, composure in the pocket, and upside. Gabriel is all short routes and sidesteps. Sanders brings field vision and arm strength. Even if he makes rookie mistakes, they're going to be aggressive ones. That's a whole lot easier to live with than watching a quarterback throw 5-yard outs on 3rd and 12. And it's not just a fan narrative. You could see it on social media after the game. Clips of wide-open receivers being ignored, fans mocking the check-down parade, analysts breaking down how little the field Gabriel is actually using. The consensus was loud. This isn't working. And now that Cabot is subtly backing that up, this isn't just noise, it's pressure. The kind that turns into full-blown controversy if the Browns don't handle it fast. Let's talk real consequences here. If this continues, if Gabriel keeps starting and the offense keeps dragging, it won't just cost games. It'll cost momentum, confidence, locker room chemistry. Wide receivers will get frustrated. Offensive linemen will start questioning play calls. And once the defense has to keep bailing out a flat offense, you're risking the entire team's buy-in. That's what's really on the line. This isn't a be patient and let the kid grow situation. This is a do we really think we can win with this guy moment. And the answer is becoming more obvious with each drive that ends in a 3-yard check down and a punt. The problem isn't just Gabriel's height or his inability to read the field. It's that defenses know what's coming. They're playing chess, and Gabriel's stuck moving pawns. If he can't see over the line and make full field reads, and he refuses to test a deep ball, then you're asking the defense to do exactly what they want. Shrink the field and dare you to beat them. Spoiler, Gabriel isn't beating anyone right now. The clock is ticking. The Browns can't pretend this is a development phase when the evidence says otherwise. And the fan base? They've seen this movie. They know how it ends. And that's why they're already screaming for the sequel. The Shedeur Sanders era. It's not about hype. It's about trajectory. Gabriel's trajectory is flatlining. Sanders, on the other hand, at least has one. And that's the kind of bet the Browns need to start making. What's the worst-case scenario? That Sanders makes some rookie mistakes while stretching the field and giving receivers real chances to make plays? Compared to what Gabriel is doing, that's a welcome trade-off. Gabriel isn't taking shots. He isn't testing windows. He's doing just enough to look competent, but not nearly enough to look like a leader. And this team doesn't need a placeholder. It needs a playmaker. If Gabriel can't take that step, and there's nothing right now suggesting he can, then it's time for the Browns to shift gears. You can't build a future on a quarterback whose entire playbook seems to stop at the line of scrimmage. So let's be blunt. If the team wants to keep fans engaged, keep players invested, and keep hope alive for anything other than a bottom-tier offense, the quarterback situation has to change. Whether that means Sanders gets a call or another option steps up, the point remains, Gabriel isn't it. And Mary Kay Cabot, with her carefully chosen words, said that without having to say it. The ball is now in the Browns' court. Are they going to keep pretending this is fine? Or are they finally going to make the call everyone's waiting for? The Browns didn't just lose a little faith in Dylan Gabriel after the Minnesota game. They watched that faith get torched on national display. And now, with Mary Kay Cabot carefully fanning the flames, we're not just talking about poor execution. We're talking about a franchise teetering on yet another identity crisis. You can feel the tension. The locker room might not be openly turning, but the cracks are starting to show. And the fans? They're done pretending. They've seen this cycle before. A new quarterback comes in, offers a glimpse of potential, then slowly gets exposed until the offense grinds to a halt and excuses run out. Only this time, it didn't take a season. It took a few weeks. That's how limited Gabriel has looked. It's not even that he's making catastrophic mistakes. That would at least show he's trying something. The problem is that he's so cautious, so reliant on rollouts and horizontal throws, that defenses don't even need to work that hard to shut him down. They just close the middle of the field, take away the short routes, and watch him panic. This is the core of Mary Kay's message. He's not dynamic enough to adjust, and defenses won't have to do much to expose him. That's not speculation. That's not a harsh hot take. That's just reality, backed by tape and confirmed by outcomes. The fact that an insider is calculated as Mary Kay is even floating this kind of criticism speaks volumes. She knows the implications. She knows what happens when a local media figure starts nudging the conversation toward a quarterback change. It means the leash is already shortening behind scenes. And here's the part no one in the Browns front office wants to admit. Every snap Dillon Gabriel takes now is being judged twice. Once in the moment, and once in comparison to the version of Shedeur Sanders that lives in the minds of fans and analysts. Because even if Sanders isn't on the field, he's in the room now, in every debate, in every press conference question, in every what-if scenario swirling around this offense. This is no longer about a young quarterback struggling to find his footing. It's about a coaching staff deciding whether they want to run an offense that walks on eggshells or one that plays to win. Gabriel's entire game feels like it's being played with the parking brake on. There's no vertical pressure, no second read, no real improvisation when the play breaks down. He's not even a game manager at this point. He's a game avoider, just trying to stay out of the way and not make things worse. But in doing that, he is making things worse. Because when you're not a threat, the defense stops respecting you. And when the defense stops respecting the quarterback, the whole offense collapses. You can already see it happening. Receivers aren't even finishing their routes with urgency anymore. Why would they? They know they're not getting the ball unless they're standing 5 yards from the line of scrimmage and waving their arms like they're directing traffic. The deep game is gone. The intermediate game is barely there. And the short game? That's collapsing now too, as defenses creep up and clog the lanes Gabriel has been living in. This is why the fan base is restless. This is why social media is unrelenting. It's not about impatience. It's about seeing the same patterns repeat. And now that Mary Kay has essentially confirmed that the organization knows about Gabriel's limitations, the pressure is real. It's no longer a fringe Twitter argument. It's a legitimate, high-level conversation being had on talk shows and articles and in meetings that matter. So now the Browns have a decision to make. And they can't afford to drag it out. Because the next time Gabriel starts a drive with 3 straight checkdowns and ends with a punt, the Boo Birds won't just be about him. They'll be about the staff keeping him out there. And make no mistake, this isn't just about production. It's about message. What message are you sending to the rest of the team when the most important position on the field is being run by someone who isn't equipped to lead it? How do you convince players to give everything on Sundays when your offense is built around not screwing up rather than trying to win? That's the dangerous line Cleveland is now walking. And unless something changes quickly, they're going to fall on the wrong side of it. Gabriel may have the support of the coaches publicly, but it's only a matter of time before the evidence overwhelms the sentiment. He's not growing. He's not adjusting. He's not developing into the kind of quarterback who makes a defense sweat. And that's a problem no scheme can fix. At this point, Shedeur Sanders doesn't even need to be great to be an upgrade. He just needs to be willing to throw past the sticks, willing to stay in the pocket, willing to actually challenge a defense instead of trying to coast on low-risk dump-offs. That alone would be a shift. That alone would breathe life into this offense. Because right now, this offense isn't playing football. It's playing not to lose. It's conservative, controlled, and completely predictable. That predictability is death in the NFL. Teams aren't just reacting to what Gabriel's doing. They're anticipating it. And once you reach that point, the margin for error becomes razor thin. You need everything else to go right just to stay competitive. One penalty, one sack, one broken route, and the drive's over. That's where this team is right now. Constantly working uphill because their quarterback isn't giving them any room to work with. Mary Kay's comments weren't just a critique. They were a warning shot. And the longer the Browns wait to act on it, the more this becomes a self-inflicted wound. This is where good teams separate from bad ones, not just in talent, but in how they respond when the writing's on the wall. And right now, that wall has Gabriel's limitations spray painted all over it. If the Browns are serious about contending, about building something sustainable, about earning the respect of their locker room and their fan base, then they can't keep pretending this is fine. It's not fine. The offense isn't clicking. The quarterback isn't evolving. And the fan base? They've already moved on. They're not asking if Sanders should get a shot. They're asking why it hasn't already happened. So what are the Browns waiting for? The next collapse? The next game where Gabriel finishes with under 150 yards and a 4-yard average depth of target? They don't need to wait for more proof. It's already here. It's in the film. It's in the stands. It's in the media room where Mary Kay Cabot, a fixture of credibility, said what everyone else was thinking. Gabriel is predictable, and predictable doesn't win games. So now it's your move, Browns. Keep going with the quarterback who's shrinking your offense, or give the guy with actual upside a shot. You don't even have to make it permanent. Just acknowledge the need for change. Because doing nothing, that's the worst decision of all. Let us know what you think. Should the Browns move on from Gabriel now, or is there still a sliver of hope left? And if you're as locked into the saga as we are, make sure you hit subscribe. Because whether the Browns finally make a change or keep dragging their feet, this quarterback controversy is far from over. It's just getting louder